Who ate too much turkey?
Oh, me, because we had ham too.
Oh
You
my
had turkey
God.
and ham.
Yeah,
Yeah.
ham showed up. A
You know
quarter of
what?
a ham.
I learned late in life that people did that. They did turkey on Thanksgiving and ham at Christmas, and we never did as kids. I think we had turkey both times.
We have. I've
Always.
always turkeyed twice, and nobody in my colonies understand me.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah,
But
Yeah.
why are we doing turkeys twice in a month? It's like
yeah.
that's what happened at my house.
Mom must have loved the dinner.
Well, so do
You
I,
know.
and so does my
Yeah.
family. And so now we have to have it. Even if which we've never really not sat, but we've had some half sat, let's say half sat dinners, like shifts. But no matter what, it gets made. You have
Oh
to have
yeah.
leftovers.
Oh yeah. Now
Yeah.
we're going right into our guest.
Dude, here he
We haven't even said who
comes.
it is.
Okay, but we can't see him yet, but God knows.
There we
Oh
go.
my God, there he is. That
Hey, how you doing?
I'm going the other way, man. I
Oh,
used to do
Oh,
this.
I like it.
Whoa! What do I have? I have this.
I've never
I just
saw
have this.
I've never seen lips look so good through a white beard.
Hi, Leland Sklar.
Hi, kids. How are you all?
We're doing
I
Doing
feel
great.
better
great.
already.
It's funny. He has such a famous look, and I heard he started growing it after out of high school or something. But this is an iconic beard. It's called. And now I have nothing iconic that follows me around, but this beard, yes, it is.
Bob, you actually did. You used to have a dimple in the middle of your chin that the
It
girls
wasn't
used to
iconic.
like. I'm trying. Hi, Leland.
Hi.
That's how it's going to be. So
Sorry about
that's
the rough intro.
No,
I'm going to do a formal introduction, okay?
Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Cowsills podcast. We have been searching for this man for a long time. He was like the Waldo of our lives. Where is he? Where is he? And
He's
found him in
everywhere.
Los Angeles.
and he played with everybody but us. He has performed with
I'm
everybody.
still waiting. I'm still waiting.
Yeah, don't say that, Leland.
Can you imagine Leland Sklar starting Indian Lake? I'd look over, I go, oh, what's going on here? Anyway, Leland Sklar, pianist and bass player extraordinaire, we find out, of course.
And he can also twirl a baton. Go, Bob.
I don't know if he can still do that. That might be, can you still do that?
Yeah.
Doing
Yeah,
it
he
right
can.
now.
He can. And
Yeah.
people are going, what are they talking about? This guy's one of the greatest bass players historically in our generation and even next generations to exist. But he's known for so much more. And his
He
name
is.
is Leland Sklar. Okay.
I have to go now.
Oh, no. Certainly, you've spoken to other people about us and know
You
our
how many
ways,
people,
Leland.
how many people pulls this up and they look, they don't know who the guest is, and they see him and go, oh my God, they got Leland Sklar. How'd they
Yeah,
do that?
yeah.
All right.
I'm like gum on your shoe. You know, you think you got rid of me, and then you got an ice cube and peanut butter in the carpeting trying to get rid of me.
Listen,
Can I
you have
Can I-
never been gum on our shoe. You've been
can I start this properly, gentlemen?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. Hello, Leland Sklar, and welcome to the Cowsills podcast.
There you
Hi,
go.
babe. How are you?
Hi.
And I have to say, you are the best hug.
Thank you.
That made
Thought he
my,
was
No, you
talking to
are.
me.
that made
Thought he
my
was talking to
evening.
Paul.
Wait, no, he's talking to me. We had a moment. I think the cacophony of the universe had peaked at some point, and there was Leland and there was I, and we were speechless. And so a hug happened, and everything seemed to get right, normal, quiet. Everything went away. It was
I
great.
have to
So
say,
thanks, Leland.
if I ever hugged Leland Sklar, I would feel that this has been a long time coming, and
You
I've
would
waited
be surprised.
a long time for this.
When
It's
we
true.
when we do your record, we'll all hug.
I
Okay.
am excited. Look, I am getting a pen out right
better
now,
say
Leland.
Bible.
You better watch yourself. So, look, okay, first of all, we are very, very honored. I won't embarrass you with too much of that
No.
because I know how you are, but like, dude, like, I just want to jump to Rockford Files and pray that's you on bass, but
Yeah.
oh, God, help me. Okay, but let's start where we
You
started.
really went far ahead.
You have a dossier that has blown my mind more than any of our other mutual friends.
That's the FBI one, isn't it?
Yeah.
really did contain
We
some.
got your background check, dude.
No, we do not. We stay away from all kinds of FBI, any legalities. We just never. What's the point? Well, none of us will get off this screen in sharing at that point. So I would like to take you very far back to early days in Milwaukee.
Oh.
When you're just baby Leland with your cute little baby beard, probably.
Yeah, it was brown.
It was brown. Well, of course it was. Probably, maybe you were toe-headed, and so it was too. But
Pin-headed.
We love that.
Go ahead. I don't mean to interrupt.
No, that's all we do, Leland. We're experts at interruption.
I'm just going to sit here and dig you.
No, you're not. You're going to be answering soon, sir.
Yeah.
So,
got questions.
In your household, where there's mom and there's dad, maybe there's music. Dunno.
Yeah.
Maybe they're musical. Dunno. But you're here and you're born, and there are fire trucks being placed in front of you, and I'm sure Dr. Kit was somewhere in there because it sure was in all of our Christmas Day. Before you hugged your first instrument, was there anything that little Leland wanted to be or do? And then did he back around it when he got older?
It's from the very beginnings. Music was it. I would sit with my parents and they would watch the Liberace TV show. And I would sit there and watch with them. I was about 4.5 years old. And we had a piano in the house. It was kind of inherited. There was my mom could plonk a little bit on the piano and my dad plonked a little bit on saxophone. But they never pursued music, but they were amazingly eclectic in their listening. So we had a great record collection in the house. But I would sit and watch the Liberace show and was enamored with, as I've talked about in the past, just the panache of his.
Yeah, he was something.
Just dressed to the nine. I mean, this was before he became what Elton became. Sitting there in his tuxedo with his candelabra, his rings, and then his brother George would come out and play violin.
We watched.
Yeah, it was, one of those things that I immediately gravitated towards the piano. By the time I was 5, I was studying piano, and we had just moved to Los Angeles at that point from Milwaukee, and so they found me a piano teacher, and I was off and running, and it was both fantastic and troubling from the standpoint the piano teacher, her name, I mean, it's weird the things you go, what did I have for breakfast today? But I'll never forget that her name was Ethel Sanborn McBurney.
I don't think you'd forget that anyway.
Remembering your phone number when you were a kid Yeah, but you don't know, what the hell's going on.
For sure, brother.
5 minutes ago. So I started studying with her and I had an affinity for it. And by the time I was 8 years old, I had met Eugene Normandy, who was the conductor of the Philadelphia Orchestra. I had won awards from the Hollywood Bowl Association as like the accomplished young pianist. But what was happening in hindsight was she was using me to live out the lack of success she had in her life.
Wow, you cannot get a parent for something like that.
I was under.
How does someone do that?
I was doing a lot of recitals. I was, under pressure a lot. And she's of course telling my folks, he's really brilliant and all that, and everybody's buying into it. And next thing you know, by the time I was 12, I was seeing a shrink about it because I was so stressed out.
Oh, wow.
So you were a protege they were trying to make happen, and you wanted to find James Taylor.
What happened at that point was we left her, and I started studying with a guy named Ernest Hughes. And Ernest Hughes was one of the premier studio pianists in Los Angeles, doing all the movies and everything. Well, I was 11 or so, I think, at this point. The youngest student he had ever had at that point was 25. So he was used to dealing with adults. So like when you're doing something wrong, he's going, God damn it, blah, blah. And my mom would show up to pick me up from my lesson, and I would be beat red from crying. And this was just spiraling down.
This is a good movie, but whatever.
Yeah. Well, I finally ended up with a fantastic piano teacher named Debbie Green out there in the Valley. She was somewhere in Van Nuys and was set up in her garage, had a little studio there. years later, when I'm in the studio working, one of the great drummers I worked with over the years was Ed Green, and we were talking about our backgrounds. And I told him about this, and he went, "That was my mom. Debbie Green was Ed Green's mom."
Wow.
And
Shut
chances
up.
are he was probably in the house when I was taking my
Yeah.
piano lessons.
Wow.
But at that point, I was so burned out that when I went to Birmingham junior high and high school. I grew up in Van Nuys and Valley kid.
Yep.
When I got to junior high school at 12, I kind of assumed, after all the accolades that I'd be the piano player in the orchestra
Yeah.
and all that. And I got there, and Ted Lynn was the music instructor, and he just said, "Look, we got about 50 kids that play piano. We need a string bass player." And he pulled an old K upright out of the back room and showed me how to hold it and said, "If you're interested." And he showed me, and I plucked one note and felt that vibration run through me. And I just went, "Done." So,
Wow,
and
man, that's like magic.
yeah, and I turned my back at that point on piano and
You
just
did.
stopped and focused on bass at that point. And we had a great music department. Milton Anderson was our one of the other teachers, and he started the Young Americans at our high school. And I was in
Oh,
the original rhythm section for the Young Americans when I
Oh,
was
wow.
Oh.
in high school. It's just all these things. There's all this crap going on, and sometimes it just all comes together, and you go,
It all comes together for you in these notes. I
well,
mean, you
we're all so, as much craziness as we've all had in our lives, we're also so profoundly blessed to have been able to make a life in music.
oh
yeah,
yeah.
When
we
everything else is tanking around you, you go, I can just put on some headphones, listen or play or do something, and it shuts out. The only other thing for me that ever gave me that same satisfaction uh, and like you warn me that you guys ramble and go on. Well, my wife always goes, "He's a blabbermouth."
yeah, you're in the
Keep
right
going.
spot, bro.
But I went to San Fernando Valley State College or Cal State Northridge, whatever you want to call it, and I
Yeah.
started there as a music major and hated it because I realized that really all they were gearing you towards was teaching credentials at that point, and I had no desire to be a teacher. I don't have
They
any.
were training teachers. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, I wanted just to be playing. So I went up to the administration building and took a whole battery of aptitude tests. And
Yeah.
my highest aptitude came up in art and science. So I became a co-major and switched over to the art department. Now the other thing that brought me great satisfaction was welding. And I did metal sculpture for
Could have
years.
had a career there. Yeah.
Yeah, and the beauty of that is you drop that helmet down and your entire world is a little spot of light
I
about that
bet.
big at the end of
Yeah.
the torch.
You
So you're
see
not dealing with any of the bullshit that's going on around you or anything. And so it had that same kind of thing. Music has that laser quality of getting you into that zone and focused. And art did the same thing for me. And
Okay.
if I hadn't had the opportunity I had where my career started, which was totally by accident, I would have been probably doing something. I was looking towards possible like medical illustration or something because I love the science side of it, but I was also like I loved hyper realist drawing and painting.
so
Yeah.
you're graphically inclined as well.
Yeah,
You know, a science lab gives you that same focus you were looking for. On the piano thing, before we get too far
yeah,
away from it,
yeah.
I want to ask you about that because you seem like you were really accomplished. Through the rest of your musical career that's coming towards you, are you ever going to be allowed to revisit that gift and use it on a recording and help people out on a keyboard? Or
Question.
do you just walk away and say, I'm a bass player?
Yeah, I kind of did. First off,
Okay.
I was blessed to be around remarkable keyboard players, so
Yeah.
I
Mm.
wasn't about to raise anybody else's bar. The thing that was great though was when my opportunity to start working in studio work in town was piano gave me reading chops. So
Yes.
many of the guys of my age, when we were all getting started, weren't readers. I mean, they could play their ass off, but
No, for sure.
it opened doors for me
Probably dropouts.
to do movies and television and jingles where reading was required. And also coming from piano, if a copyist screwed up and wrote the bass parts in treble or tenor clef, I could still read that. So I came in with a set of skills when the opportunity opened up that I was able,
All the smart thing.
rather than somebody calling you for a date and go, you can read, can't you? Where
Right.
Well, I make my own little
Well,
notes.
Oh man, my
And
husband
also-
said yes and not been able to read, just
Yeah.
kind of winged it. Yeah.
And also, you went from 88 down to 4.
man,
Yeah.
you can't downsize better than that.
I hear you.
Unless you go to a flea market and buy a really shitty piano that only has strings, and then you just
Yeah.
So your early bass work then, not, but you love the bass, even though you're not on a Fender yet, but you're on a stand up and you love it.
Yeah.
A string bass, you love the stand up,
Yeah.
and you're going to live with that for a while until what's going to flip you.
Well, what flipped me was when I started playing, I immediately, around 12 years old, I started with other guys in the area. We were doing bands and stuff. And the school was generous enough to let me use the bass. So, I'd be dragging that damn thing home from school. And
Amazing.
Oh, jeez.
So, Leland, I have to interject one thing. You have to answer it and then go right back to that if you're capable. We're not. But like, was any of this to try and get chicks?
No,
Okay, cool.
I hadn't come to terms with my sexuality, which is I just did 2 weeks ago, and I realized I'm actually.
Buddy, I am happy for you for that. Because that's a long journey. But I just wanted to make sure, because it's so much a part of most of the musician men I know.
Girls intimidated the living shit out of me.
And rightfully so. So go back to what you were saying.
They are a much higher form of art.
I understand. You scare me too. So.
At least that's what you told me to say before we got here today. But
now, can you get back to where?
Yeah, you can.
So what happened was we were starting to play in bands, and I was going, I can't hear myself. I'm like sitting next to a drummer and a guitar player who's got a little new amp and keyboard player with maybe his, a kid from Encino, so they got a B3 organ, and stuff. And I'm sitting there bleeding because I'm beating the shit out of this thing. So my dad finally took me down to Stein on Vine, which was part of the musicians union at that time.
I've heard of it. I don't know.
It was great. And he bought me a Japanese bass called a melody bass, a little 4-string bass, and a St. George amp. And I plugged that in. And I mean, it took a period of adjustment to go from fretless upright to a, sitting down with a fretted instrument. But all of a sudden, I was a contender. I could play with the other cats and not be, flogging myself. And then I would go through, I was an absolutely, like all of us, I was enamored with the Beatles. So, but I couldn't afford a Hofner. So I got an Echo bass that was shaped like one. And, things evolved. I got a stand.
Did you run and make a band real quick after the Beatles?
Oh, always. I mean,
okay. Well, yeah. I mean, everybody did. That's how we got where we went.
You were in 5 bands at once?
Oh, yeah. No, we were constantly playing. And
honestly, is that because the great bass player Leland Sklar is around, or there aren't any bass players?
No, I had a van. So I could, now,
the wheels.
Whatever people see me as now, we all started in the same primordial ooze.
Okay.
Yes.
And I was working with really wonderful players that were all young. We were all like, 13, 14, 15.
Of course you were. But so Leland, where do you go from?
When I was 15, we would go down, because I was doing jazz a lot with Upright. So we would go down and we would play Concerts by the Sea, which was the Lighthouse. At that point, played at
Redondo, down in Redondo.
Played at Shelley's Manhole and all these different places. So we were cutting our teeth all the time, playing. I knew every frat house in UCLA and USC because we were always playing frat parties on weekends.
These are your teen years. You are out there just
absolutely.
Rocking the valley. And
are you plucking? Oh, sorry. Are you plucking or picking? Are you picking your bass?
I never picked because I never played guitar in my life. I really have no chops as a.
I'm there. Okay. I'm with you.
Yeah. I don't pick either. Go ahead, Bob.
Well, I wish I did at times because I do love the sound of it. When I listen to all the old stuff that Carol Kay and Joe Osborne.
Right. And she used to pick.
Oh, yeah. She's a guitar player who became
Yeah.
I love that sound, but I've never, as much as I'm not lazy, I'm totally lazy. So
you're lazy like that.
We're very much like that.
Yeah, I would have had to sit down and really dedicate some time to getting my chops up because if I was playing with a pick, I'd be sorry. And then as soon as I'd play with my fingers, I'd go, so much, I'm expressing myself the way I want to.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I do love the sound of it. I'm not adverse to anything. To me, any way somebody plays an instrument's valid. When you see these arguments on social media, guys going, "Oh, if you're playing a five string, you're not really playing," or if you're playing with bullshit, you use the tools that you need for you. And anything, if you have I play a one string bass or a 10-string bass if
Yeah.
that's what I needed. So I really look at
You really can get anything out of it, I guess.
Did you ever put a bass part down and then put the same part down with a pick and use them both?
No, but what I've done at times was I've done a bass part and then I'll go back and double it with a piccolo bass, which is an octave higher.
Oh yeah.
And then all of a sudden it sounds like an 8-string. But what you can do then is lay down the original really clean, and then when you do the piccolo, do it with a little chorus or something, and it becomes a dramatically different.
Oh yeah.
Wow, that's
One of the
badass.
people I worked with a number of years ago was Billy Thorpe, and we did an album called Children of the Sun. And almost all the bass parts on that were all doubled between regular and piccolo.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, you can play with that. And when you're young like this, you're in 5 bands, you're in this band, that band, that. Are you also investigating genres that you like, styles that you like, or do you love them all? I'll play it with everybody. I'll do it all.
At that point, we're all too young to even understand genres.
Okay.
And
That's good.
most of it was kind of like surf bands from the Valley, and then kind of bluesy rock bands. I was one of the best things that ever happened to me was when the Beatles played at the Hollywood Bowl in 1966. I wanted to see them desperately, and I sent for tickets, and I got a letter back that said, "Sold out. We can't do."
Buddy.
Well, the year before, I had applied to see if I could get a job as an usher. Well, I suddenly get a note saying, "We have a special concert coming up and we need extra ushers." So I got an usher at the bowl when the Beatles played there, which also kept me on for the whole season. So besides seeing them, I got to see Jimi Hendrix, Vanilla Fudge,
Holy cow.
India Festival.
Vanilla Fudge.
And did you bring
Beach Boys? I mean, it was everything, a whole year of
wow.
And you brought the blankets? You gave everybody blankets and stuff
no,
like that?
I just let them sit on my beard. Warmer than a blanket.
Okay, wait. Okay, I'm wrangling. Okay, so I'm wrangling is what I'm doing. So you are this little young man in all these little bands, and now you work at the Hollywood Bowl.
Yeah.
Does you playing on major theme songs of TV shows I watch as a child, when does this come in?
Okay, what happened was
He played on rock. Well, you tell us.
Mike Post, baby. Mike Post. You go ahead.
Yeah, what happened was I was in a band with a group of guys from Encino back in 1960.
How old are you? How old are you?
I'll be 79.
No, when you're doing this.
Oh, when I'm doing this? Well, I think it was 67. So
okay, thanks. Go.
Maybe
you're 15. You're 15.
Okay.
Or whatever the fuck it is. I didn't think
Yeah.
today. I was in this band called Group Therapy, which was an aptly named band. But we got a record deal with a company called Canterbury Records. And the thing that was great about that, and this is really one of the great things, Canterbury Records was owned by a guy named Ken Handler. And Ken's sister was Barbara Handler. Their parents owned Mattel. So Ken and Barbie in real life are brother and sister.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, isn't that great?
Factoid there, folks.
Yeah. But when we got to do the record, I don't know where the connection came. It might have come through the record company, but the producer was Mike Post. And Mike Post, at that point, was the musical director for the Andy Williams show, and he had just done Classical Gas with Mason Williams at that point. So we went into the studio. It was my first experience ever going in the studio, but we weren't allowed to play on our record because we were too young and inexperienced. So it was the Wrecking Crew on it. And we were at United Recorders when it was still United Western.
Yeah, we've been there.
Yeah. And the big room in front was the first studio.
Yep.
We know it well.
I was sitting on that couch looking through the window at Hal Blaine, Carol Kay, Dennis Budimir, Mike Dacey,
Al Blaine.
It was Mike Rubini, Mike Melvoin, and Larry Knechtel were the three keyboard players. Jim Gordon was the young percussionist in
Gordon.
town at that point.
Oh, Lord.
Al Casey was also playing guitar, and we had a string section, and we cut like four sides or so, and that was how I met Mike. And then when my career actually started in the studio, he suddenly saw that this guy that he had worked with back then was around, and he contacted me, and we talked about like reading chops and all that. And so asked me if I wanted to come down. So I went down and we did the theme for the Rockford Files. Then we did A-Team and Hill Street Blues and Magnum PI. I did every one of Mike Pope's.
I cannot believe this. That is to me
That is
amazing.
wild.
And I worked,
Paul's chomping. Paul's chomping.
Well, I'm just so you guys go in, your group therapy is the band, and you guys realize, hey, we're not going to be able to play our own music because we're just not there. How did that affect you guys' heads? Did you guys go in thinking, oh man, we're going to kill this, and then realize, oh, I'm not doing it?
No, we knew from the get-go that we weren't going to be playing on it, but we sang on it.
Right.
Kind of like the association sort of a thing.
Well, our early records, it was the same thing.
But yeah, it was one of those things where just seeing it, but the thing that was weird for me was I'm looking at these people and they're like consummate pros, like the stuff's with them, and they got parts down, and I'm thinking to myself, I could never do this. And in 3 years, I was playing with
exactly what you're doing.
Yeah, that's what happened.
But you're going to have your own wrecking crew, the section, but that's
it was so.
Let Paulie go. Let Paulie go, Lee. Trust me.
No, Leland, go for it, Leland. Okay. Finish your thought.
I was going to explain how I actually got into the business from being a kid in the Valley playing in bands. So
that would be good.
In 68 and 69, I was in a band called Wolfgang. That was still one of the best bands I was ever in. It was really one of the greatest musical experiences I had. I love these guys. We called ourselves Wolfgang because our manager was Bill Graham, and that was Bill Graham's real name was Wolfgang. So we thought, how better to suck up to your management than to name your band after him?
Yeah.
I mean, what the hell? So we got together. We were doing, some covers, but in a very unique way. We were doing Dylan songs and stuff, but it's hard rock. And our drummer, Bugs Pemberton, who was England, we had two guys from England in the band. We had Bryn Howarth on guitar, who's still over in England, a really successful evangelical musician. He plays guitars. He does great albums, and he's.
You want to be on our podcast?
No, he's great. He's fabulous. And Bugs Pemberton, who played drums, Warren Pemberton, who was in Jackie Lomax and the Undertakers in London, who were rivals of the Beatles back in the day. And great drummer. Well, one of his best friends was a guy named John Fishbeck, who owned Crystal Recording Studios over on Vine Street. And John would come and hang out at our rehearsals with us. We had rented a house in, I guess, Sunland area up on Wheatland. And we had this crazy house on the top, and the band kind of lived there. Well, at one of our rehearsals, John said, is it cool if I bring a friend of mine along with me? And we said, sure, come on, it's a party up here. Let's hang out. And he shows up with this guy who had just gotten back from England, who was an old friend of his. Turned out it was James Taylor. Now, nobody knew who James Taylor was here at that point. He had done his Apple record over in England. And he had come back, and Peter Asher was going to be producing him, and they had just done his first American album. And we're rehearsing. He hung out for like 2 days with us, and so we're talking, and he's playing us his tunes. So like we ended up doing like a hard rock version of Country Road for ourselves.
Oh my God!
And then he got offered a gig at the Troubadour to premiere sing, and they already had the core of their band together because they had just done the album. They had Danny Korchmar on guitar. They had Russ Kunkel on drums, and they had
Here they come.
And Carole King on piano.
Here they come.
But they didn't have a bass player because the guy who did the album wasn't going to be in the band with them. So he came to the rehearsal, and next thing I know, he calls Peter and he goes, "I found the bass player."
Unreal.
And they tracked me down and asked me if I would play that gig at the Troubadour with him. And I said, well, sure, I'd love to. And I was still in college at this
That's a
point.
major turn.
So, Polly.
The Troubadour gig. So when that call came in, okay, did you have any vibe or any sense of what that might be meaning? You getting the call? Just
nothing. I just figured we were playing a gig, and I was going to.
Okay.
I had finals coming up and stuff,
and he's just a guy, right? He's not James Taylor.
Yeah. So we play the gig.
Got to remember that.
Yeah. So we play the gig, and the next thing you know, James is on the cover of Time magazine.
He wasn't famous yet when he found it.
But he was. He
became.
The tidal wave was coming in.
It's like Bruce, right? Like when Bruce showed up on time.
Yeah. Well, and Elton, when Elton did Troubadour with Nigel and Dee, and all of a sudden changed the music scene with these guys. So all of a sudden they got offered another gig after this because it was so successful, and they got offered a month tour, and they said, do you want to do it? And I'm sitting there looking, I got final exams coming up, and I'm thinking, so I went, fuck it, let's go. And that was, 1970, and I never went back to school, never graduated. I had 5 years under my belt up there, but we hit the road. And
I call that graduating, Lee.
Well, I'll tell you what was graduating. When I was in Wolfgang, the very first gig we ever played as a band, because we had rehearsed tons, we were so tight, but we'd never done a gig. We'd only just sat up on Wheatland Avenue. The very first gig we did was at Winterland, opening for Zeppelin.
Oh, that's the first?
That's the first time we ever were on stage together.
Who are you hanging around with? You're meeting important people.
Well, we were there because Bill Graham was our manager.
Remember, Bill Wolfgang Graham was, and nobody knew who he was either, more or less, right, Lee?
No,
right?
Bill was one of the most dynamic people in this industry, but he was still behind the scenes.
He was a kid, right? How old was he? He couldn't have been.
Probably he was probably 10 years older than the rest of us or something.
But still, that's his beginning. This is wild.
Yeah, and then when we started with James, we were up at like the Berkeley Community Theater. We were at the Greek in Berkeley, and all that stuff. So all this stuff, it really became like a tidal wave where stuff started happening.
So, are you saying Wolfgang opened for James Taylor, or you're in James?
Oh no, Wolfgang opened for Led Zeppelin.
Yeah, because that's hard.
Yeah. But that was kind of like one of those trials by fire. We pulled
that had to be your first exciting audience.
Oh, God.
Right? The Led Zeppelin audience?
Oh, are you kidding? At Winterland with all the opaque pictures with all gelatin.
Crazy.
It was fantastic. It was really fantastic.
Okay.
But so when James started, all of a sudden it just took on a life of its own. And I have people like come to me at like clinics and stuff, and they go, we want to do what you did. How did you do it? And I go, I have no idea. It was a set of circumstances and opened different doors. The only thing that I had really going for me was, and a lot of people go through this, the opportunity opens up, but you got to have the goods when the opportunity.
You got to come through.
Yeah, because if suddenly you get this opportunity to go play with somebody and they go, dude sucks, words out and then you're back doing what you do. So I was lucky that it seemed like whatever I did seemed to fit the moment.
Yeah.
And then the thing with James was, he was really like at the forefront of that singer-songwriter movement, where you had like the Dylans and Phil Oakes and all these more of the folky.
He started mainstream.
It was different. It was different with James.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, the labels all saw that, and probably one of the most profound things in our career as the guys from the section,
Peter
was Peter. Because he insisted that our names appear on the album jacket, which crew got no notoriety. So when people were listening to Sinatra and the Association and the Mamas and the Papas, they had oops, hold on, my alarm.
That's okay.
Do you have to go?
No.
Wait, is it 11:11?
11:30. I was just doing this I had something that I needed to do.
Leland,
I did it before we started talking.
The thing about Peter Asher, I think another thing about him that probably lent itself to your development, all of the different, he was known to not use other people's band. Like if you're the Motels, well, you're not going to play on the record. You're going to do it this way. And he always went to you guys for everybody, it seemed.
But that was as time went on, we became, but the fact that he put our names on those albums and labels, which meant something at that point.
Yeah, looking out for this guy.
It was one of those things that they were sitting there seeing the success of James. So they were starting to sign singer-songwriters
like wildfire.
Right.
And they would look at James's record and go, well, if these guys are good enough for James Taylor, let's see if we can get them for our record. And so suddenly I went from literally having only done one recording session, which was a demo for Wolfgang, to being like doing 4 sessions a day, 6 days a week.
Wow.
So we had like the Carole Kings and the Jackson Browns and the Linda Ronstadts.
They had them all.
Coco and all these things. And every day, I mean, I still have all the old date books from the 70s.
Oh, you're killing me right now. Go, Polly.
What's it
saying?
Polly.
Leland, so was there a moment in that time that you're in right there that you got to look at your buddies and go, guys, we're the new Wrecking Crew? Did that ever get into your brain that?
No, not really. I think we were just all, I mean, we were still young. We were like in our early 20s.
It's happening. You don't know it's happening, but it's happening.
In the moment.
I know.
And it's one of those things, the minute the last gig you're hired for is over, you go, well, that's it. We're done. You know, it's over. And then the phone rings and another project comes in. Okay. So it was ongoing. And the thing that really I and all of us really felt was in our hearts, the real difference between us and the Wrecking Crew was the Wrecking Crew never left the studio. They did the records, and then when people went on the road, they hired a road band or whatever they were going to do.
Right.
We were on the road half the year.
Yeah, you were performing.
Okay.
Which is what we really loved. And it's interesting when we did the documentary, you know, for Denny about the immediate family.
Yes, I loved it.
He said, you know, because he had done the Wrecking Crew documentary because his dad was Tommy Tedesco, who was like the greatest guitar player.
We met him, yeah.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure you guys.
Yeah.
It was one of those things where he said, look, at the Wrecking Crew literally lasted 10 years for the real viability. That, you know, guys are still working and stuff. Don Randy's still out there doing stuff. But for the most part, their real meat and potatoes was 10 years. And he goes, and they never left the studio. You know, Hal might go to Vegas and, you know, get marquee with Sinatra or somebody like that. Kitty cat. But he said, you guys have been together over 50 years. You're still doing it, and you go on the road with the artists too. So it's a very different dynamic. But at that time, we were just thrilled. We couldn't believe we were working musicians. Yeah. Really. And then when I would be in the studio and I'd walk in and there would be Hal. I did tons of records with Nectel and Melvoin and Tommy, and did lots of films. And we became, they were sort of mentors in a way, just because they had so much experience that I could sit with them and draw from, you know, the Chuck Dominicos and all these people. It was a magical golden age.
Yes, it was. Can I ask a really dumb question before Paul asks the real one?
Yeah.
Or I'll let Paul ask the real one. Go, Paul.
Well, I was just going to bring up a point. I've read through so much stuff, and I picked out these 4 things that you had said at some other time in some other interview. And as I took them from there and put them in a row, I think I have the reason that you are so successful. And that I believe the reason is because, and these are your words,
I gave up the gag reflex.
Nothing in this business is predictable. That's what you said. And then you said, I take nothing for granted.
Yeah.
And then the last 2 things that blew my mind is that you get a buzz when the phone rings. And then you say, never say no to a call.
Yep.
And that's why he's here.
And that
I told him to think about it.
It's absolutely true. You never know what's around the corner. And you might, the only time I've ever said no to anything is if there's something deep in my gut that says this is not going to be good.
Amen.
And not so much the music might not be, but the business is bullshit. You know,
right.
Lied
100%.
but for the most part, I every time that phone rings, I feel viable. I still, I mean,
Heck yeah.
I'm almost 80 years old at this point, and,
Yes.
and I'm just kind of going, I still love when the phone rings, and I
Yeah.
love going to work.
So then do you kind of see everything as an audition as well?
Well, I have several
Or do you
months.
play like it is?
Well, I sort of do both. Like I'll be driving to a session and I'm just on the drive there. I'm kind of going, don't suck, just don't suck.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about me because as musicians, most of us are, still anxiety riddled and, a lot of self-doubt where you go,
I'm no good. I'm no good.
am I going to be able to cut it? Because I would say probably 80% of the time, I have no idea what I'm showing up to.
Right.
Or anything like that. So I don't know what the demands are going to be.
Yeah.
And you got to show up and have your Rolodex of ideas ready to
Yes.
go.
Right.
As soon as you say no twice, you're down at the bottom of the list,
Yeah.
even as good as you could be.
Good point. Yeah.
You never say no. I mean, I talked to Hal about that once, and he said when he first started playing in town doing work, they asked him, whoever the producer was, said, you play percussion too, don't you? He said, no, absolutely. Never played percussion in his ran down to like Stein or one of those places
Yeah.
and bought like a tambourine and some shakers and stuff.
Yeah.
Because he said if I would have said no, they would have had somebody else and he would have never gotten another call.
Right. That's so right.
And the other thing I also always think about is everything I do is etched in mud. Because you got to be pliable in this business. You can't come in there with an attitude and go, it's my way or, it's not happening. You go,
Right.
But what I'll do, like on a session, if I feel like there's something I could contribute that's different, I'll make sure I get the part that they want.
Yes.
And then say, if you can give me another shot at it, let me try something else. And there's times where they've looked at me after this and they'll go, you just made the record. And other times where they'll go, we're so used to the old part. And I go, it's cool.
Sure.
It's cool. As long as you're happy, I'm happy.
Absolutely. Yeah. I offer that vocally. If I come into like get called in, you know what you hear, tell me what you've got. And if you want, before I leave, I'll roll out what I heard, keep it, lose. I don't care what you do with it.
Yeah.
But it's just kind of, and so coming prepared, it kind of just kind of happens. So that's nice.
Yeah. But it's one of these things that there's so many dynamics to this industry that you just have to be kind of prepared for anything. I don't do many master classes or clinics, but I've done a few, and it's very little playing involved in them. It's really talking to the people about the ethics of the studio. To me, when that phone rings, you have two options. You say yes or no. If you say yes, it comes with obligations.
Absolutely.
When the session starts at 10 a.m., you're not pulling in the parking lot at 10 after 10.
No.
You've been there for an hour. You've already gone through your setup, you're tuned, you're ready to play it. Now, the artist may not show up till noon, but that's their call. But your clock starts.
I also learned, Leland, that when you answer that phone, you don't say no, because you and I have done recordings together with Dr. Charles from the Red Sox. And I'm going, he must know Lauren.
Oh, you're kidding. You know Charles.
I was Leland Sklar at Sonny's in Santa Monica on stage playing the Neil Diamond song for the Red Sox. So you're awesome. Out there having fun also. I assume that's fun for you because it was fun for me. And we're on Charles Steinberg's songs. He's the bass player.
Funnest thing ever.
Oh, man, all of that stuff. I mean, Lauren Harriet is just a fascinating guy. And every time he pulls up a project, Bernie Williams from the Yankees. I mean, remember when we got called for that, and Bernie was the center fielder for the New York Yankees at that time. He hadn't retired yet. And we did that one in New York, and we showed up to the studio. And, I've done a lot of vanity projects for actors and different people. And you go, it's cute, sweet. Yeah. But Bernie pulled out his guitar, and J.T. Thomas was playing keyboards, and Kenny Aronoff was playing drums, and Tim Pierce was playing guitar.
That's something real there. Yeah.
And Bernie pulls out his guitar, and we all went, oh, man, this is the real deal. He's a monstrous guitar player.
Yeah, good.
It was great. It was great. And those kind of things, you just never know. But I've done tons of those kind of athletes and actors and all. And a lot of them, they started in music.
Yeah, a lot of musicians.
It's like Bernie said, when he was growing up in Puerto Rico, was a music major all through school, and he was playing ball
Uh,
one day out in a field with some friends, and a Yankees scout was in Puerto Rico and saw him, and the next thing you know, he's making $100 million a year.
Yeah.
amazing.
Well, Leland, you're looking at a couple of would have been major ball players. The one on top for he was really in it
Um,
because he didn't have music early on. Like I have my go
We're
ahead,
going
Bob.
to keep him all day. We're going to move it along. But go ahead, Susan. I want to ask something, but go ahead.
Okay, but I'm afraid I won't get it in, and I have to
Get
know
it in.
this. Are you the bass part that starts off Sweet Baby James?
Sweet Baby James is guitar.
That boom, ba-dum, boom, boom is a guitar. Think of the intro.
I'd have to listen to it again
Boom,
because
boom.
we've done it like live recording.
It's got it sounds like a bass and a guitar. It's the intro. It goes boom, ba-dum, boom.
No, I think it's just guitar.
Boom. Okay.
I think it is. But James was a challenge for me to start with.
Why?
Because James's guitar playing is so unique.
Oh, very.
And there's,
Really?
every time I'd work with anybody from Clint
Acoustic?
to Garth Brooks and stuff, they'd go, James Taylor. And all they want to do is play James songs so they can show you. Because James, his thumb is always playing bass, his voice.
Oh.
And when I started with him, I kind of went, what the hell am I going to do? He's already playing.
Yeah.
Well, then that's the answer to that question,
Yeah.
Leland, because it is in my heart, in my 11-year-old head, it's a bass and maybe a guitar with. But
No, it's his thumb.
Did you play on that song?
Oh yeah, no, but I mean all those things.
That'll work, Leland.
Okay.
It does it for me, Lee. We're done.
But for me, the real enjoyable part of my career has been variety.
Yeah.
Of being able to work with somebody like James Taylor or Jackson Brown or Linda Ronstadt, but then do like Spectrum with Billy Cobham and do like I did tons of records with like Reba and Vince
Recordings
Gill
with the
and all those.
Cowsills. Who knows?
And that's saying yes. That's because you said yes. That's why that diversity came into you.
Yeah, and it's really it keeps it because there's a part of me where I would say you can get a little jealous when I see somebody like Flea, well, who's all, and this is not knocking Flea, but all he's ever had to do was Chili Peppers.
Yeah.
And he's made a shitload of money and a lot of success. And then he can go do whatever he wants to do, where every time I walk in the studio, I'm joining a new band and I'm having to come up with new ideas where I've worked on, somebody estimated I've worked on about 26,000 songs during the course.
That's amazing. Yeah.
But I've gotten to play with Charlie Watts and Ringo Starr.
Yeah, God.
And Jeff Beck and all these people where if I was in a band, those opportunities would have never been there. So
Never.
on the one hand, it's a double-edged sword with these things where
It's great. So I have a question about the road because you didn't shy away from the road. You're a road warrior. We love the road. We don't have any problem with the road. We're the ones you want out there. Are you that way?
Yeah, we were out on the road with Lyle Lovett most of this year.
Oh, cool.
You love it still. Yeah.
I mean, of course, going through the bullshit you have to go through with airports when you're
yes. And as we get older, it's more bullshit every day.
But, it's, climbing in the bunk. I always figure you're too old for the road when you can't get in the center bunk.
Yeah.
I'm on top and I'm never coming down.
He's talking about bus berths, people. We know
I'm never
about
coming
those.
down. We are the Three Stooges. I'm top. Paul is middle and Bob is bottom for 11 years. Thank you very much.
I have been on the bottom berth for 11 years. And it only became first I used to roll out and just pop up and get out. Now I have to roll out.
Go to sleep.
I have to get up. Now
Kind of negotiate.
Yeah, it's 2 steps now. That's true.
With Lyle, I've got Jim Cox right underneath me.
Are you condo bunks?
Hmm?
Are you condo bunks?
It depends on the bus. Yeah.
Gotcha. Can you sit up in your bunk?
I slept beside Chuck Negron for 7 years.
We were bunk buddies for years.
We were.
Wow.
Okay, so we figured you're a road warrior what's great about your road is you play to the biggest crowds and smallest crowds. You play for everybody, the most famous and the least famous.
Yeah.
That's your diversity thing. I love that. One thing, so I know our good friend is Waddy Wachtel. We grew up with Waddy in Newport. You know this, and you're going to bump into him during the Ronstadt years? When do you meet?
Oh yeah, when do you meet Waddy? Good question.
I met Waddy in 1973 before any of us. We were doing, oh God, what's his name? It was an R&B singer album. We did it
Al
over
Green.
at Sound City. Um,
Sound City.
shit, I'm suddenly blanking on this.
Oh,
I'll
that's the
call you.
first time you did it. I say you're doing
I'll call
well.
you. I'll call you late tonight.
Well, your session guys on this?
Yeah, we were just session guys. He had come to town, and so we met on that, and then he met Russ, and it became this thing where we all sort of ended up together.
And then Danny, right? Wasn't he and
Well,
Danny?
Cooch was there from the very beginning.
That's yeah.
Because he was with James, because they grew up together on Martha's Vineyard.
He's a
So all this is centered around Electra Asylum, right? They're kind of
Well, they always say
the
that,
hub.
but we were doing a lot of the Electra Asylum artists, but we were working for everybody. So,
Yeah.
but when you see these things that are written out, on Wikipedia and stuff, they were the mellow mafia, and we always go, "Fuck you."
Yeah.
Oh, we can't forget fuck you. And we can say that on this cast continuously because
I
it is
hope so.
Oh,
we need to get to our book.
I got to tell you one thing, the finger book. So Leland, so I'm at a Dr. Charles session, and either you're coming by, I missed you, but I'm sitting there going, do I ask him to take my picture, giving him the finger? Do I ask him to take my picture, giving him the finger? And you never showed up, so I didn't have to go through that.
If you do another one, can we have a family council? Fuck you. It'd be
My
so
biggest
fun.
fear, my biggest fear that day was him showing up and saying, "No, I'm not going to take your picture," giving me the finger.
Yeah, because you're fucking council.
Oh,
No.
I want to be in the group.
You would have been embraced by my cuticle.
I know I have been photographed once. I think
But
we were
are you
in
guys-
England.
The immediate family. Okay,
Yes,
so you're
yes,
full of
immediate.
band. You decide, none of us are done. And it's you. I got one question. I know why you do it now. It's your love. It's your game. It's what you do. My question about the immediate family is Russ, Danny, Waddy, and Leland. Who the heck is Steve Postel, and how did he get cracked?
That's what we should have entitled the album.
Steve Postel.
Who the hell is Steve Postel?
Yeah,
The way that all came about
What's
was Steve Postel about 18 years ago came up to me at a NAMM show, and we had never met. And he came up and said, "You're going to play on my record." And I said, "Fine, that's what I do. Call me." And I did, and it was me and Steve Ferroni playing drums and stuff, and we had a great time with him. Well, Cooch at this point had moved back east. He came back out to LA, and he ended up moving pretty close to where Postel lived, and they met up at somebody's party, and the people there had a couple of guitars, and they said, "Oh, why don't you guys, you want to play together?" And they started playing, and they looked at each other, and they went, "This is really pretty cool." So Danny got offered a deal with a label in Japan, and to do a solo record. And so he started trying to think, what can I do for this thing? He and Postel hooked up, and they started working on his songs, because what it was basically songs that Danny had written for artists, other artists, and he was going to record them in his own way. And so they worked on that, and Danny figured Russ and I would, and Waddy wouldn't be around town. It just so happened that week, Russ and I were in town, and Jackson Brown let us use his studio down in Santa Monica. Waddy was out with Stevie at that point, but he could come we were in for 3 days, so he could make the third day. So we got in the studio, and since Danny had been working with Steve, working on all this stuff, he had him come in too. And it just was kind of one of those things. The guy's there, and he didn't leave. He just became a part of the music. They ended up, they hit it off really well, and it worked for all of us, just in terms of
How fun for the Steve guy.
Yeah.
Did Postel think like, "Oh my God, I made it! I finally."
I
Yeah, there was an element of that where he would talk about it.
would. You guys need a chick singer? Just kidding.
Always.
I know that.
But it was one of those things. He's like 10 years younger than everybody else, so he kind of grew up looking at us the way we would look at the Wrecking.
Okay. Yeah.
So for him, it was really enjoyable, and I've done other projects with him where he's producing. He's got a nice little home studio, and I've gone to his house and worked on other people's projects with him.
Wow.
We all have a good relationship. The issue we've had with the band it's an issue that most everybody has. I mean, here we've been playing together for like Russ and I and Cooch, we look at each other. We've been playing together for 56 years, staring
Yes.
at each
Yeah.
other. But in the eyes of the public and of the industry, we're a new artist. So, we were hoping that maybe the Grammys, we could get nominated as Best New Artist in the thing.
That would be awesome.
That would have been the cutest freaking thing ever.
It would be fun. We could all get matching walkers and stuff.
Oh my God.
yeah.
I'll drive y'all.
Are you going to book it? Are you going to book the immediate family? Are you going to tour?
Well, no, we did, but the problem that we have with it is since nobody knows who the hell the band really is, the dough is so low that we lose money every time.
Come on, for y'all?
Every time we go out to play a gig, it costs
That's hard to believe.
us like $1,000 to go play a gig.
Are you freaking kidding?
We go do the gigs and the places are, pretty full and the people are loving it and we're playing all that stuff. But we can't get advances that are enough to cover our costs. And we go out bare boned in a
wait. Can't some of your famous
van and all that shit?
Can't some of your famous friends let you open for them and pay you nicely?
No.
I know that. I just wanted to say it. I just wanted to say
crazy.
Man, I'll tell you, that's
funny over here.
I thought you guys your history.
Yeah, but
we should let them open for us.
Well, the thing that I would love to have done would to have been gone on the road and book it in such a way where we play like a few songs, do a Q&A with the audience for a half hour.
Oh, Leland, it would be.
And then play and then continue playing. But it's never come together in that way. In the same way we've been bugging management, all these people to get us corporates. Because with
you guys, there's lots
we've never gotten an offer come in for anything. So there's a lot of bullshit involved. And at this point, Cooch pretty much has called it for himself.
No,
he moved back to Rhode Island, and he's just kind of enjoying, being near his daughters.
I can dig it.
And then when there was an agency involved, and they would start to come up with some offers. And Russ and I'd be out with Lyle. Waddy would be out with Stevie.
Yeah.
And we couldn't commit to things, so we couldn't get the ball.
Because you could still, but listen, you could still with Cooch in Rhode Island. That's not the earth. You could still, I know I would appreciate. And so if I do, people who really know more than I do really would appreciate that. Sitting. I would go to that. I would sit. I would listen. I would love to have question and answers. Yeah. I'd love to see you guys sitting on stools, putting out whatever.
I'm still going out. I've got 3. I'm still going out with Denny Tedesco doing screenings of the documentary movie.
Okay.
And I'm the guy that goes and does the Q&As.
Cool.
Good. That's good.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love you. Love it. We love it.
Yeah. So we've got one coming up in Hollywood, I think on the 3rd. Then we're doing a gig down. I did an album with a really wonderful artist named Patty Zacklet, and we're doing a show down in Carlsbad with her, playing her album, and then screening the movie and doing a Q&A after that.
Oh, cow.
Nice for her and y'all.
Yeah.
Nice.
And then Denny and I are going up to, I think, like Half Moon Bay or somewhere up near like San Jose to do a screening. And we're going to go to the university, and he's going to talk to the film school, and I'm going to talk to the music school. So I love doing it. And Denny and I really travel well together and love doing this stuff. So the documentary still has legs.
Nice. Good.
Especially we went to England and did a screening in London. And it was great. I mean, it was like 500 musicians in the place, and they went crazy for the movie. And then we did about a 45-minute Q&A after, and then hung out with all the guys after that. And
that's excellent.
So it's
are you recognized a lot out there because you're such a famous appearance?
Well, the thing is, I'm really fortunate from the standpoint that I'm a sideman. So when people see me every day at the supermarket, you name it, at gas station,
they don't even know why
they don't come up freaking out like they would if it was James Taylor or Phil Collins or somebody like that. They just come up and go, aren't you the bass player with, oh man, I saw you guys. And we have a really nice little conversation.
Excellent.
maybe take a picture together and stuff.
Excellent.
Like with Lyle, I've got my book on he's very generous with all of us. And he said, oh, if you want to sell your book here at the merch table, do it. So we have a life-size poster of me out there that says I'll be doing a Q&A or a hang meet and greet after the show at the merch table. And I go out there and I sign books for people and take pictures.
That's really kind of Lyle.
Well, yeah, he's great about that stuff. The way he talks about everybody in the band, he gives everybody time on stage to
Super sweet.
introduce.
What do you got, Polly?
Well, I wanted to ask Leland. So, way back in the day, we're all recording. It's all analog, and we're just having a ball, and we're all got fingers on the pods when we're mixing. And you take that, you take that, you take that, and all that. And now you get a call, and because you're the yes guy, you go, yeah, I'll be over. Where am I going? You get an address. Now you're walking into somebody's closet because that's where Pro Tools is at.
Yeah.
Do you miss the studio and all that, or is it?
No, to me, the best this is when you have a group of players in a room and everybody's feeding ideas off. At this point, I never want to get into the discussions of analog versus digital, because most of the artists that I work with are young and they've never been around digital. I mean, they've never been around analog.
Yeah.
I don't want to. I don't want to come off as the old fart in there.
Okay.
So you want to go, well, back in my day, and you sound like grandpa.
No. But here's the thing.
But if they ask me about it, I'm really happy to talk about it and share it. And there's a lot of young artists now that want to harken back to those days, and they're digging out.
Look, it's not about technology to me.
Yeah.
It is about the experience.
Yeah,
and I do not want to leave a studio floor and go into a booth to sit and listen to what we just did and stare at a screen and look for a monitor to tell me what just happened. Nobody's looking at each other anymore. It is the oddest thing in the world to me to not sit there and listen and go, well, what did you, I can't.
So, it's like I always encouraged people too, when I would do these clinics, I'd say the most important thing is, if you're all in the studio together, when you finish the track, you go in and listen to the playback. You don't get on your phone at this.
And don't look at the screens.
No.
Listen.
Yeah.
Get in, close your eyes and dig it. And if it's working, it's like, I remember we did a Zoom thing for Berkeley, and one of the people on the Zoom was the great Omar Hakim, drummer. And his best line was, "Don't lose the dance floor."
Yeah.
And that's it. I mean, when you look, if you're in the room and you just see everybody, it's there. If all of a sudden everybody's just talking and they're like, something's not working. But there's aspects of all of this. Like I'm constantly having people send me files, and I'm sitting at home doing bass parts for people. Now, on the one hand, it's not nearly as satisfying as sitting in a studio.
No, of course not.
But the thing that comes with that is it turns me on to a global community where, to be in a room with the guys, you got to be in LA, or I've got to fly somewhere, where when they send me this stuff, I've been doing albums for people from Scandinavia, from Asia, from stuff. And all they're doing is sending me, files. And it's a little harder for me from the standpoint we're not talking in the studio. So a lot of times, instead of coming up with one bass part, I'll end up sending them 3 or 4 bass parts. An aggressive.
That's
one.
Okay.
And then I cut and paste, do whatever you want with the thing.
I could totally get into file sending, and that the side of it where I'm going, man, this is me. I get to do this. They're not even.
You're a record guy, so
Nobody say, "Hey, good job, man, good job." Everybody,
I don't like it.
Man,
I hate it.
I've never expected that. There's times where I've been sitting in the studio and I've worked on something that just sold 30 million copies. Yet while we were doing it, nobody was going, "Oh, great part, great." Doing other things. I mean, again, it's like the different genres. Every day, even though there's a similarity to what we do, every day is a unique experience. It's the primary thing is the song. That's
always has been that way. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what bass I'm going to play on something until I've heard the song. I don't know if I might. I tend not to use pedals or anything but I'll suggest things, because those things can be done post rather than pre, and I'd really rather give them this cleanest bass they can have.
Do whatever.
Afterwards. so many times when I'm in the studio, I'm at the bare skeletal moment of this song.
Yes.
Yep.
It might
The
just,
rhythm section.
yeah, the rhythm section. And then all of a sudden you hear it finish and you're going, if I'd have known that's what they were going to do, I wouldn't
Oh
have played that
I
part.
man.
hear you.
Oh,
So you got to be kind of cognizant of a whole lot of things
Yeah.
going on. And the dialogue is what I miss though, when you're in a studio and you can kind of
Yes.
kick ideas around. I've done just finished a second album with this remarkable guitarist named Laurie Basilio, who's from Brazil, and she's amazing. Just finished a European tour, and it was like me and Vinny Colaiuta with her, and she plays. I mean, she's
Look
a,
her up,
a
y'all.
shredder, but an absolutely writes
oh,
melodic, beautiful songs and stuff, and has
Um,
chops for days. And and when we're in the studio, we're just sitting around, we talk for a moment, we kind of suss the chart out and all this, and we get the song in a take.
yeah.
Because
That's
it's
the
so
best.
organic, and you just go,
Yeah.
and there's times where you'll walk out of a studio and you're just going, it sucks. It's like there's nothing there for you, but you still give it your best shot because you said yes when the phone.
Yeah.
Absolutely, man.
yes.
No,
Yeah. Yeah. I
Right.
love it.
That's what I
and
mean by auditioning. You just do it like it's your first and
Well,
most
and
best.
also you might walk out of there and go, God, that was sucked. And
Mhm.
next thing you know, it's number one
you
record.
were wrong.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And other times you've
Yeah.
played on something that you thought was the best thing you ever played on, and then it gets shelved and never even gets released.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
you know,
You know, I have one last question about something that stuck out that you said, and it's not going to mean anything to anyone. But you said a Hofner bass, you use all these basses. You got to know all the basses. But the line about Hofner bass, you only use that as the song demands.
yeah.
So what is it, if you can quickly, what kind of song would demand a Hofner bass?
Well, I ended up using. I did an album. This is a two-parter. I did Vanessa Carlton's record with "1,000 Miles." That song, "1,000 Miles" on it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And one of the songs we cut on that, she did a cover of "Paint It Black," the Stones' "Paint It Black."
Yeah.
Love
And I
that.
tried my Frankenstein and nothing sounded right. And I looked at Ron Fair, and we kind of went, I wonder if a Hofner would be good on this one. It was that kind of dead, thuddier sound. And
Wow.
and we contacted, oh God, who was doing all the rental at that time? I can't remember right now. It's been so long.
Let's say
SIR.
let's just say yes, I are.
Yeah, well, it was an
He
individual.
doesn't wanna.
No, 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 no. It wasn't Bob Bradshaw. It
Was
was
that Wes Farrell, SIR? Did he have something to do with SIR? Why do I think?
No.
No.
I
no,
know
no,
he was
no,
our producer, but I felt he had something to
no.
do.
That was two guys started that.
Who were the
They
two
lived
guys?
with us, you guys.
Is
The
that
two
why
guys
I'm
that
connecting?
we gave them the money to start the first SIR.
I knew we had something to do with
Down on
that.
Santa Monica.
Yeah.
Yeah, next to the
Yeah.
The first one.
Two
Thank
guys,
you,
they're
Paul.
always on their sailboats. I
yeah,
can't.
next
Thank
to
you,
the
Paul.
Army
I'm
Navy.
sorry. I digress. I knew we had something to do with it. My
Okay,
bad. I thought it was our
okay.
producer. I was
So,
fine.
so we ended up getting that, and I thought this would be a cool piece to put in my inventory. So I checked, and the company that actually distributed Hofner was out in Sunland. And I went out there and I tried like a dozen of them until I found one because they're real inconsistent. Some are.
Really? Okay.
I found one I liked, and then when I went in the studio with B.B. King to do his 80th birthday album, I thought for his music that might be cool. And I put a bunch of foam rubber under the strings and got them really, and they're flat wounds, so it had that real almost uprighty, dead old bluesy thing, and it was perfect. And the best part of that was
Wow.
when we finished the project, I had BB sign the bass. And I have a picture of him signing it so nobody can say,
Oh,
shit, that's not BB.
Wow. Where
good.
did you
Wow.
record that with BB? Where was that?
We did that out in the valley. I forget where that studio was, somewhere down.
That's okay. It wasn't
That's
in
a good sense of history. So when we show up at a Leland Sklar session and you're the bass player, am I going to walk in? I'm going to see 5 or 6 bass guitars on stands there next to you? Or
No,
if you figure out what you're going to do before?
I might have two basses with me. I might have my old kind of quasi Fender, and I might have my new the Dingwall 5 strings that I've been using a lot. And then if somebody said, "Could you bring a fretless?" then I'll bring a fretless with me. But for the most part, I'm not a gearhead. To me,
Yeah.
I'll use almost the same bass for every genre. I'll play like a smooth jazz thing on it, and then I'll go do a metal thing. And it's just
It
how you
works.
and how you approach it, how you use it. So
2 seconds for me. Phil Collins, go. Phil Collins, when did you play with him?
the first time I played with Phil Collins
All right,
was
guy.
doing a Lee Ritenour album. Lee, I had always known Lee for a long time, and Lee got to know Phil, and he had a song on one of his solo albums, and he decided he wanted both of us to play. I was aware of Phil through Genesis, and he was
Okay.
aware of me
After
through like
Genesis.
James Taylor and all that stuff, and we hit it off. And he afterwards said to me, could you do my next album and tour?" And I had already committed at that point to James
Oh,
Taylor. And I said, "I can't do it, but please, I'd love to work with you at some point." So he called me in '84 and asked if I could come to England and do No Jacket Required with him. And
Wow.
then '85, we were on the road all year. And the thing that was fascinating about that was at that point, Phil was a drummer in Genesis. Nobody
Yeah.
really knew anything about him. Then all of a sudden, we did that album, and like Susudio and all that happened. And
I can hear it coming.
we went from little gigs one day to like arenas sold out.
And so are you on I Can
Wow.
Hear It Coming in the
No,
Air?
because that was on the previous album.
That was previous. So you but what did you studio?
Yeah.
Oh, that's you?
Yeah. Well, that's not actually me on that because that's the one track that was also
Leland.
David Frank did all the key synth on that, but we played it live.
Now, when you're touring, this is you're in the A game, right? I mean, you're
yeah.
well, everything's top of the line, right?
A private plane and all that stuff.
I love that. Okay, well,
Wow.
that's not the middle berth on a bus, I'll tell you.
No, it's not. It's not. But it's also one of those things where you step away from it and you go, "Don't get used to this," because
Right.
Because it's ridiculous.
this is
Because it's ridiculous.
Yeah, but we did things on that tour that were great. We did like at one point in that tour when we played LA, we did, I think, sold out 6 nights at the Forum for that.
Wow.
On the seventh night, we played the Wiltern, and we did the Wiltern.
Fun.
The gig wasn't announced until that day.
Oh,
When you
so
bought your
funny.
ticket, you had to walk in the door. There was no scalping, no nothing.
Wow, that's
And
cool.
we did a 3.5 hour show that night, and it was probably the best show of the week.
Wow.
I always wanted to
Cool.
sing a duet with Phil Collins when I was young.
How did that happen? Who brought that up? Hey, let's go to the Wiltern now that the Forum's done. How did you do that?
That's Phil, and that was Tony Smith, his manager.
Okay.
Tony's like the greatest.
Such a cool idea.
Yeah. And we did a lot of things like that. And they were real thoughtful, like with the song Another Day in Paradise, which we had in 1990.
Mm-hmm.
At every gig we played, he would talk about homelessness and all that. And they had buckets at the doors for people to make donations.
Oh, great.
And
Nice.
he matched every night himself.
Oh,
Wow.
cool.
So
He's a good guy. I knew it.
He's a great guy
He's a great guy.
well, in the same way when we did the James Taylor Carole King Troubadour reunion tour, in 2010, somewhere around then, when we played that gig at the Troubadour, which was our reunion, which was it was to celebrate, I think, the 40th anniversary of the Troubadour.
Yes, it was a Troubadour celebration.
Yeah, and so one of the things they thought would be great is since Carol was in the original band and that's where she got exposed as an artist and not just a writer, they said, so we did 5 nights there at the Troubadour, and it was great. It was one of those things. Well, they said, this has gone so well. We've been offered these massive gigs like at the Madison Square Garden and all these giant arena gigs. We go, how do you take this intimate Troubadour show and put it into an arena? So what we did was they created it was in the round. We had a round stage in the center of the arenas, massive video screen. So even if you were in nosebleed, you could see great. And the thing turned, it would turn.
Oh, man. Were you all facing each other or facing out?
We were facing all over. We were looking
Okay.
at each other, looking out. But the thing that was cool was they built a nightclub around the stage.
Cool.
So that was the VIP section for the show, where those seats,
Wow.
they had a little table and chairs and stuff. You felt
How
like
beautiful.
you felt like you were in the Troubadour. And those were like for the VIP thing, I think it was like $1,500 a seat to see the show. But the thing that was great was the people that bought those seats got to come to sound check, got to have dinner with the band and the artist, everything.
Wow.
And every penny of that went to homeless shelters and stuff.
Right.
The tour money didn't begin until outside of that ring around the thing, and I think they raised like $8 million.
Wow.
You know,
That is
and it's just some of these. It's like some people go out and they do, oh, we got a VIP thing, and you barely see them, and they give you a laminate or something.
Yeah, yeah, and you get rushed through a photo.
Yeah, this was really a good experience. Plus, it was tax deductible for the people because
Yeah.
it's a charity.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
It was a win-win for everybody, but like we played Nashville right after they had their major flood down there, and all the money from that went right to flood
It's
relief in
just the
Nashville.
best, man. That is the best.
Yes.
Leland, what's your next project? What are
Wait,
you
wait,
gonna do?
I have one last question before we wind him up, and it's something I need to know, if I may. Okay, so you played down here with a guy I know. His name's Jake Eckert. He was in there's the New Orleans Suspects, and he's a singer. And anyway. You may or may not remember. That's not the thing. But what he noted was, and is this something you do intentionally as a bass player? He noted as a singer that you pay attention to a singer breathing while you're playing bass. Is that something you consciously do, or is that just something my friend picked up on?
No, I think it's something that I've just learned over the years as an accompanist. You know, you have to be. It's like I remember one of the hardest gigs I ever played, recorded, was when Linda Ronstadt did Pirates of Penzance on Broadway.
Yeah,
They decided to make a movie of it.
yeah.
And when they went to do it, they realized that at this point, the pit orchestra was not exactly on top of it. It was good, but not good enough for a movie. So and it was Peter Asher was producing it. So they decided we had to go in and replace all of the parts because the singing was already there. That was done. So this had to be to the singers. And the problem that they should have done but didn't do, because they even had the conductor come to the session. It was just Val Garay engineering, Peter Asher, and the conductor and me. Because I was the first guy replacing. It wasn't like an orchestra, it was one person at a time. They should have videotaped him conducting because Gilbert and Sullivan is insane to follow. These songs are
Okay.
all over the place.
Okay.
And I would look over at him and go, what am I? And he'd go, I don't know what to tell you. It was a little different every night. So I was
Oh,
sitting there, and at certain points, I had them cranking Linda's vocals so loud that I could hear her take her breath before the downbeat on it. And because you're not going to be sitting there moving everything on Pro Tools all the time, it was performance. So it was
yeah.
insane. And finally, I think, and the book on that is like as thick as a New York
Oh,
phone.
that's exciting.
And at one point, I just sat there and I punched the music stand and knocked everything flying. I was so frustrated with
Leland.
like, but it
That is
was,
a beautiful approach to.
Challenged. Wow.
Isn't that just a cool thing? All right, all right. So Bob, you can wind him up and
Well,
we got to let everybody know where to get your book.
do
okay.
you get challenged these days
Oh,
anymore?
yeah.
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 Right.
Yeah. And I mean, certainly, every day is a challenge with it. And sometimes you go in and you go, oh, this is way beneath my chops kind of thing. But there's other times you walk in and you go, holy fuck.
Yeah.
I wish they would have called so and so who like eats. It can be difficult, but there's stuff coming up. We're starting.
Yes.
Got some stuff, and I think on the 8th to the 11th with Lyle, we're going down doing a cruise, one of those cruises down.
Okay.
That's fun.
And then we're playing a thing called Stagecoach out here in April.
Oh, a huge festival.
Lyle's going out. He and John Hyatt go out every year as a duo.
Whoa, wow.
I think they're out in February and March.
Are those personalities that go together?
Musically, it's great.
Beautiful. Say no more.
Yeah, no, it's great.
Cool. Cool.
It's there's different stuff going on all the time. This year was like we started out this year in Scandinavia with Lyle. Oh no, in the UK, and then we went back to do Scandinavia after that, and then we got hired to go do a private in Florence, Italy for a guy's birthday, and just weird
For
stuff.
you.
Well, it was a lot more travel than gig.
Yeah.
It usually is. Like we say, we get paid for all the
Oh
other
yeah.
bullshit.
No, that's it. All decent musicians. You always go, I do all the gigs for free and I get paid to kill 20 bucks.
Amen,
Yeah,
man.
right,
Yeah.
right.
I only ask you to buy this merch so I can pay for my gas. I swear to God.
Yeah, exactly.
Just a quick question
Yeah.
because I'm curious because man,
Question.
beard management. I mean, seriously, do you have to tie it at night or do you? How does it
And
work?
ever a Santa. Just had to ask that.
Ignore it. Just
Okay.
ignore it. Pretend it's not there. The great thing is like on the holidays, like you're at the supermarket and somebody's pushing a little kid in a cart by you.
Yes, yes.
Santa.
They're freaking out. And then when the mom's not looking, you lean in and you go, I know you've been really bad. You're not getting shit.
Oh, yeah, that's you. Here, take my book.
Well, I'll tell you,
Here, take my book.
I wish, I mean, I don't know how much time you guys want to spend here.
Yeah, what do you got?
But my deepest moment on tour was because of this.
We're
Because
not leaving without your deepest moment on tour.
okay, we were with Phil Collins. This was in 1990. We were in Glasgow and getting ready to head to play. I can't remember if it was. I think it was Dublin, not Belfast. It was Dublin. And so we're sitting, just in there waiting. It was a commercial flight over there. There's nothing private over in Europe. You're just grabbing commercial flights. And so we're sitting there, and I look over, and there's a mother sitting with a little boy who's like 4 years old, and three young daughters who like maybe were from like 6, 8, and 10, something like in that age group. And Bridget Bryant, who was one of the singers, was sitting near them, and she came back over and she goes, "That little boy thinks you're Santa Claus." And so next thing you know, the three little girls come over and they go, are you guys a pop group? They wonder what's going on. And we said, well, yeah, this is Phil Collins. Well, I go over and I talk to the mom and I said, so what's you guys up to? And they said, well, we're heading home from here. And I said, well, we're playing in Dublin tomorrow night. Would you like to come to the show? And she said, well, we're meeting my husband at the airport. I have to check with him to see, well, when we get there, we'll find out. Well, when we get there, I meet him and they go, this would be fabulous. But I go over and the whole time I'm talking to her, this kid, his name's David, he's staring at me, just freaking out because he thinks I'm Santa Claus. And when they finally call our flight, I'm still talking to her. So he gets up and he's got a little suitcase and I said, hey, David, let me carry your suitcase for you. So I grab his hand and I grab his suitcase and we go to the plane and get on the plane. He's like freaking out the whole time, subtly. But so we get there and we invite the family to the show. Well, the next night we do the show and they show up and she goes, I kind of thought maybe we're like just being nice but there were tickets and VIP passes for them and everything. And the sweetest thing was when the show was over, they came backstage and the girls had gone out and bought autograph books. And so I got everybody from Phil to every crew member, every band member. We filled their books with everybody. And at a certain point, our publicist is sitting there and Phil's sitting there and she points to Phil, tells David, do you know who that is? And points at Phil. And he goes, he's Santa's helper. And we're all like dying at this point. It's great. So when it's time for us to leave, I walked them to the parking lot. And as we're walking, and David had said to me, he goes, I've been really good. I want to train. Well, as we're going, I tell his dad, here's what he said. He goes, he's already got it for him and stuff. Well, I've stayed in touch with this family. And when we were there, he was 4 years old. And the last time we were in town, I'll show you this.
I can't believe this. This is 30 years later, 20
whatever. Years later, he gave me the train. It was a Thomas the Train.
Oh.
Got my name on it. It's
man.
1990 to 2017 that was when I saw him was in 2017. He's 30. Great
Christmas story.
He's 34 years old now.
Wow.
Glad I asked about Phil.
Did you have to break his heart or does he know you're not Santa? I mean,
I started
Wait a minute.
I started to think I am.
I'm pretty sure you are. I want to leave it like that.
Yeah, it's one of these things that I stay in touch. The family, we write to each other on birthdays.
That's beautiful.
That's
Crazy.
wild, dude.
But I would have people to say, "Tell us a road story," and they want to hear like it was their nude mud wrestling and the.
Yeah.
And I go, "I'll tell you, I've got a couple of stories like that."
I love it.
And a lot of times, if you're talking to like a reporter, they're kind of glazing over at that point. This is not what they wanted to hear. They're just being patient to let you.
Yeah.
So they
Yeah.
delete. And
Beautiful.
Look, this has been way more than we ever dreamed, and I'm so glad that we bumped into each
Great.
other last week.
Thank you, Leland, for coming on, man.
And I'm just going to wait until you guys call me to record with you.
Oh, we're calling you. I'm going to talk to the boys later. I heard you loud and clear.
And after that, if I retire, I'm good at that.
Right on. We can make everybody's dreams come true because I'm.
You know, we're going to call you in on our next project because it is an a cappella project.
Perfect.
No, you'll be hearing from us, Mr. Sklar. Thank you so much, Leland.
Also, if anybody's interested in the book.
Then we need to know where to get the book. That's why we're even here.
Yeah. So go to lelandskalarsbeard.com. And it's a book, a huge 6-pound coffee table book of 6,000 people going.
I love it.
He has amazing commercials from all of his pals holding up this giant thing going.
It's about humanity because there's a finite amount of ways of doing this, but the face is infinite.
100%.
It's like every kind of reaction, anything like that. But it's it's got the James Taylors and Jackson Browns and and all this. But it's also got people at the airport and
nice.
I've met on the street and stuff. So it's about humanity and not.
Might it have little David? It has David in it?
No, I don't. But it starts with babies giving the finger. So it's.
Oh, I love that.
Hey, we could have been in that because there's a picture of Bob has a twin who is no longer with us. But when they were 6 months old, they took a photo and my brother, and it stayed the whole of their lives, was right there with him.
Absolutely. I mean,
best photo. I might send it to you just for fun.
It just means you're number one.
Thank you, Leland Sklar.
I like that.
We'll be in touch, Leland.
Well,
say hi to Waddy.
If you ever want to do a part 2, I'm here for you.
We want to.
Part 2 people.
I got a million more questions.
Dude, that's it. Part 1 over.
All right, everyone. We're going to part 2.
Thank you, Leland.
Bye, boys.
Bye-bye.
See you next week. That turkey sure was good.